Hi there, I'm Michael Schuman. I'm a board-certified hypnotist. I office on the West Loop, just inside of Bel Air in Houston.
And I'm Michael Schmidt, a board-certified hypnotherapist, and I office in the Woodlands, Texas.
And Michael, let's talk a little bit about the difference between a board-certified hypnotist and somebody who is just a certified hypnotist, or as they are being called now, a consulting hypnotist.
There are not too many board-certified hypnotists. I think there's probably one other in the population of around 3 million, 4 million here in Houston, and you and I are two of them.
And we probably don't even know who the other one is.
So what did it take, your experience, to obtain a certification in the NGH? We both belong, one of the groups we belong to is the National Guild of Hypnotists, made up worldwide of about 25,000 hypnotists.
Correct. And we are, at the time that I got my board certification, I was one of fewer than 300 at the time. It's probably up close to 500 by now. But in any case, there are not that many of us, even worldwide, who have taken the trouble to do the board certification. And what that meant is there's a process. First of all, one has to be in full-time practice for a certain length of time. The other things that you have to do is you have to write an article suitable for journal publication of a minimum of 1,000 words. You also have to get two fellows that you can, or persons, whom you can rely on and write letters regarding you as a competent person who, in other words, who will give you a letter indicating that you are a decent person. The next thing that happens is either at one of the two conventions during the year, they hold the board examination, and generally what they will do is sit before an examining group of several hypnotists who have been in practice probably 30 or 40 years each, and who will then do essentially an oral exam to see who you are and how you practice and what you might know and what your attitudes are. And then that's followed by a board exam, the examination itself. And I will say that for the most part, it's divided into a number of segments, but they are sort of standard. The end of the exam is what I consider to be the most important and the most critical, and that is they give you 5 different presenting scenarios, and you have 5 minutes, one at a time, to write a treatment protocol for that scenario. And that is pretty taxing. You pretty well have to know your stuff in order to be able to do that. And if you can answer enough of those questions and answer those last questions sufficiently well, then you are probably pretty well qualified to see almost anything that a hypnotist should be able to see.
And if you weren't before the exam, you would be after the exam. I would say it is quite taxing. All in all, it takes about anywhere from 4.5 to 6 hours to take the exam. And when you're ahead of or the peers are in front of you, and you are being scrutinized by them, and it's a round robin. They fire questions at you. You must come up with the right answer. You need to be able to respond under a stressful situation. And I think this really separates the herd, I think, quite a bit. Not to detract from other hypnotists, because there's a lot of folks that just decide they don't want to take this. But it does tell us one thing. It's not a $47 weekend course that some individuals take and call themselves a qualified hypnotist. We will take this very serious as a profession. We are, Michael, myself, are in constant study. We meet once a month and we go through a lot of training. We go to conventions for a lot of training. Our bookshelf covers each one of us a whole wall full of information. So we're constantly learning. never too old to learn or never too smart.
And along the way, we keep acquiring more textbooks and more information and do our own self-study reading along the way. Because although hypnosis has been around for thousands of years in one form or another, we are just now tapping into the potential for the kinds of areas and kinds of issues that hypnosis is going to be useful for. And that research is ongoing, and we avail ourselves of as much of that as we possibly can.
I would like to say that at the ends of our names, at one time it was the initial CH for certified hypnotist or consulting hypnotist or a certified hypnotherapist. But Michael and I now earned our stripes, so to speak, and we now are BCH, Board Certified Hypnotist or Board Certified Hypnotherapist. So if you're looking for a hypnotist, look for one that has been board certified, or at least certified. Ask the hypnotist who's the agency, or what agency did the credentialing. Just to get to be a certified hypnotist with the NGH, we have to have a minimum of 100 hours of training. 100 hours. Many people call themselves hypnotists, consulting hypnotists, or maybe even call themselves board hypnotists, and they only have 1 weekend of training, and someone gives them a certificate and says, you're done.
Right, and unfortunately in the state of Texas there are not enough of us for the state to justify a certification board. So the state of Texas does not have a certification board or a licensure board for hypnotists in the state of Texas. One of the terms that may be confusing to some folks is that some people use the term certified hypnotist and some people use the term certified hypnotherapist. So what's the difference? The difference mainly is not in the training at all. The difference is that, particularly in the state of Texas, in order to use the term hypnotherapist, one must be a licensed medical professional. And in the state of Texas, if you're not a licensed medical professional, then the term that you use is certified hypnotist, or in our case, board certified hypnotist. And our training is exactly the same in our case, probably somewhat beyond what most of the regular certified hypnotists or hypnotherapists get. So that's the real difference. It is a legal issue.
Right. I'd like to also mention that the National Guild of Hypnotists, which is a worldwide organization, not to detract from other organizations that are very good also, follows a guideline of ethics. And that is an area that is stressed very heavily when taking your board certification. We follow a guideline of ethics as to what we do and what we don't do.